Welcome back to the Unprocessed Life. I'm Toby, and today I'm showing you how to make traditional sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is a super easy fermented food that you can make at home. All you need are some cabbages and some sea salt and a little bit of elbow grease where you're going to be squooshing around in there, getting your juices going for your brine with the cabbage. And that honestly is all it takes. Now, traditional fermented foods such as sauerkraut, kombucha, kefir, dill pickles if they're fermented in your crock are all really fabulous foods to help get beneficial bacteria back into your body, into your gut. Your gut is where you have most of the bacteria in your body, which is also the area where 80% of your immune system is built. So if your gut is fed with lots of fermented foods, beneficial bacteria will go in there and it will help make sure that your body is maintaining a healthy balance, which will help you in a host of different ways. So I'm really excited to show you this simple, awesome recipe of traditional sauerkraut. Okay, so the first step we have is cutting up your cabbage. I'm using my food processor with the, I'll just show you, this blade, which is the one that is the slicer. And I have my food processor on the lowest setting. So I've got that. You could also quite easily just chop it up really small with a knife. I have this, so I'm using it. It's quicker for sure, but if you don't have that, it's also really easy to just slice it up with a knife. So, one thing that I always do is keep hold of the top part of the cabbage leaf here, because I'm going to use that as a bit of a barrier for when I'm fermenting it in my crock. So just slice it up like this, cut the end off there. So now we just slice it up in the food processor. So I have my cabbage ready to go, shredded up nice and thinly there. If you're using a knife, it might just not be as thin, which is okay too. It'll just take a little bit more time to get the brine going. So I have just another bowl, just an empty mixing bowl, that I'm going to take a handful of my sauerkraut and just a sprinkle of my salt, and I am going to start just squishing it. Just squishing it like this with my hands until it starts to produce a bit of a juice. And then I just keep doing this, just keep adding a little bit more cabbage, a little bit more salt, until I have a nice juicy brine. Alright, so as you can see, I've squished it enough that I have a brine, which is just the juice coming out of the cabbage with that salt. So what I'm going to do is take a clean mason jar, and I'm literally just putting it in there. Just like that with my hands. Since my hands are clean, it's totally cool. And then I'm just squishing down with my hands like that, because I want the cabbage to be fully submerged in the juice. That's really important, because otherwise you can have some mold growing, which is not what we want. Not the kind of bacteria that we want to be adding into our sauerkraut. So just squish it down, squish it down. So we've got nice brine there. Something to consider is when your cabbage is fresher, it's easier to get the juice going. So if you have a bit of an older cabbage, it might take a little bit more time to get that happening. So, and then if you remember, we saved the top of the cabbage, or sorry, the outer leaves. So I'm just going to stick that just as a barrier on the top like that. And then I have, this is just a Ziploc bag filled with water as a weight because I want to make sure that my cabbage stays submerged. So I'm just going to pop that in there, just like that. It's also going to help keep your fruit flies out, which can be definitely a problem in the summertime. So just like that. There we go. And that then stays in a cool, dark place for about 3 weeks. You can test it after 2 weeks and see how you like it. And that's it. That's your sauerkraut.